When the mall closed, the mannequins went to a storage bay. Night after night, one kept changing outfits on camera. The night they shuttered Foxwood Mall, security worked a double. We locked the food court chain by chain, killed the music mid-song, and watched the last teenagers pretend they weren't sad about a place that raised them. After that, the mannequins went skidding into a rented storage bay. 30 glossy bodies with blank faces and impossible balance, all zip-tied in pairs like dance partners who haven't learned the steps. I drew the graveyard shift because I don't mind empty places, and empty places don't mind me. The bay lights hum. The cameras watch. My job is to log no movement until sun shows up. On night 3, Cam 2 pinged motion at 2:14 a.m. The feed showed row B, mid-length dresses. A mannequin that had worn yellow at 10 p.m. wore red at 2:14. No cuts, no jump, just red. I scrubbed back. Yellow, frame step, red. I told myself a stylist had snuck in, which is hilarious at an abandoned mall. Night 4, Cam 3 pinged. Menswear? The tall male form in navy now wore a security jacket. Mine. I checked my rack. My jacket still hung limp, radio clipped. On the feed, the mannequin's head had tilted a fraction the way bored people do. I typed artifact into the log because the human brain loves that word when it's lying. Night 5. Cam 1 caught something dragging across tile in row A. Not metal on stone. Fabric. You know the sound a wedding dress makes when it decides gravity is optional? That. A white mannequin in a floor-length gown stood facing the wall where no face should bother to look. I told my boss. He watched the clips twice and said, "Cool," in a voice that meant, "Don't put this in writing." So, I didn't. But I started talking out loud during rounds, the way you do with skittish dogs. Evening, folks. Looking sharp? We're locked? No customers? It made me feel like if something answered, it would choose words. A week later, Cam 2 pinged a new outfit. Red again, but wrong. The dress had mud at the hem. That storage bay is cleaner than our break room. On the floor beneath, a smear, like someone had dragged wet fabric and then stepped out of it. 2 oval shapes, bare feet. Not quite human. Too narrow, too long at the toes. I went very still and realized I had already been still for a long time. That night, a hiss came from row B. The sound of plastic wrap being peeled slow. I rounded the end cap and stopped. The red dress was on the floor, as if the mannequin had stepped forward out of it. The mannequin stood a foot closer to me than it had in the camera feed. Its arms hung loose in a way arms on rods shouldn't. I said, "Store's closed." I meant you don't belong to me. At 3:07, my radio crackled on its hook. A voice a woman said, "Elevator, please." There is no elevator. The mall cut power to lifts the week we shut the skate shop. The radio hissed again, softer, like someone who doesn't want to bother you twice. I reviewed the feeds till dawn. In Cam 4, the red dress wasn't empty. For 3 frames, it had knees. Day shift swapped jokes in the break room about my haunted Barbies. I stared at my jacket. It still hung. But on the shoulder, a dust print in the shape of fingers that weren't mine. The following night, I brought my own camera, a cheap body cam I use when the skate kids get mouthy. I clipped it on and walked the rows with my hands out, palms visible, like a person negotiating with a skittish horse. In row C, half a dozen heads had turned toward the aisle. Not all the way, just enough to register attention. At the back wall, I found a door I'd never noticed. Metal, unpainted, no handle, no lock. I pressed my ear to it, not sound absence, a kind of quiet that eats footsteps. The dust at the threshold had a clean line like something had slid under it recently. On the concrete, a series of parallel scuffs, too even for boxes, too low for carts. The marks you'd get if someone dragged something heavy, wrapped in fabric, that couldn't complain. On my way out, I passed the red dress. It hung on its mannequin again. A new stain bloomed at the hem. Rust, I told myself. Not brown, not anything else. I checked my body cam footage at home. In one frame, while I'm panning past the door, the lens catches a reflection in a strip of polished metal. Over my shoulder, the red dress mannequin. Closer than it should be, head-tilted mouth. There is no mouth open anyway, like a crack in glossy skin. The next frame, it's back where it belongs. Blank and balanced and harmless. We sealed the bay last week. Not because of mannequins. Because of insurance. The landlord's favorite ghost. The company moved the forms to a different warehouse. I helped roll them onto a truck. They were lighter than they looked, except the one in red. Two of us grunted that one into place. As we strapped it, the truck driver touched the stain at the hem and sniffed his fingers like guys do when they think no one's watching. "Iron," he said. "Hate that smell." He drove off. I followed him in my car longer than was reasonable, eyes glued to the tarp straps in my headlights. They held. I still have access to the cameras. Habit. Last night, the new bay pinged motion at 2:14. On the feed, the red dress was gone. The mannequin wore my jacket again. The floor showed two long ovals side by side, toes pointed toward the exit. I typed no movement in the log and hit save. Then I opened a blank window and wrote what I should have said weeks ago. "Store is closed. If you're leaving, I won't stop you. Please don't drag anything. Please don't wear my jacket." I hit print. I taped it to the new bay door on my way home. Ink bled in the night air like it wanted to belong to fabric. Like and follow for more flies.